Hello everyone, this is Bekeme aka Mommy Geo, and you're listening to the Good Citizen Show brought to you by Theatre in Action and proudly sponsored by ACT Foundation. And today on the show, I have a very special guest. I've been meaning to have her on the show for the longest time. But before I go into that, I wanted to ask how your week has been. You can send us a message to tell us how it's been on WhatsApp at 0817-313-6193. Again, it's 0817-313-6193. And we are actually continuing the series on entrepreneurship. This time we're talking about the Mumpreneur. Did you know that employees at companies that invest in personal branding initiatives are 27% more likely to feel more optimistic about their company's future, and 20% are more likely to stay at their company? You see, employees are much more aware. It's not like when I was going to my first job and I just thought, can they pay me? That's an environment that is productive for them. So we really today live in a world where your online presence can make or mar. And I can tell you for sure that today's guest is all about that online presence that some of us are still fighting with. It's a love-hate relationship for me being online. I'm quite old school, and we're talking about none other than the Mumpreneur. She's a personal branding expert and a serial entrepreneur, and like I guess last week, she started her career in the bank before starting her business here in Lagos. Although I think you were born and bred in Lagos, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Okay, so Mofulusade Sonaike is the MD CEO of Mompreneur.ng and Trezolandia Limited, popularly referred to, of course, as the Mumpreneur, the one and only. She's also a gift consultant, blogger, on-air personality, and an entrepreneurship advocate. Welcome to the show, Sade.
Thank you.
So I've known Sade, disclaimer, like a few of the others who have been on the show, I've known Sade quite a long time. I think I've known you the longest, actually.
Yes.
Many years.
When we were tiny.
Yes, I've known you for decades. Oh, hey, Lord. Where you were.
But it's interesting how time flies.
It is interesting how
it feels like
flies.
yesterday.
It does feel like yesterday. It does. It's at least 3 decades since I've known you. When, Beeb, who was your bestie at the time, I mean, she would never let us say, oh, Shade, this, oh, Shade, she's so pretty, oh, Shade, she's so nice, oh, Shade, so I'm like, I beg, let's drink water and drop cut this Shade. But, but the last post that I made about you, or the very first post that I made about you, it was 360 for me. I did eventually realize why she was on and on about you, because the work that you do is impact driven. So you are an entrepreneur, but the focus of your work is really about impact, turning around mindsets, making things change. So it's not just about meeting a need, like providing a product or a service, selling Gary because everybody will eat Gary. But you're actually empowering people. So how did you get into that?
Okay, so it all started with my need, actually. So I was working in the bank, like you said. And at some point, I just thought, no, I can't do this. I can't live like this. I felt trapped. I felt I wasn't making progress. So I left and I went into manufacturing. After that, I was doing a business consulting for them. I was a business analyst with them for a while. Then I had my first son. Okay, and at this time it was just crazy. So it was wake up early in the morning, go to work, come back late. I went through several nannies and caregivers. My mom is still alive, so she also was involved in all this caregiving, but it just wasn't working for me.
Yeah, it wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough support because I just felt like an absentee mom. And I told her, I can't leave, Mommy, I can't do this. She, you know how it is in Nigeria. They say, I know, stay with your job, woman, you must have a job, you must have this, I said, no. So that it was out of a need of, and I said, okay, I'm going to resign, but I'm not the kind of person who just sits at home and does nothing.
And waits for somebody to feed her.
Do you understand?
So charge.
So I said, okay, what can I do? And that was when I started the first business, which was gift consulting. But the thing is, I always tell people, nothing prepares you. Oh my God, nothing prepares you for business than being in the business yourself.
I know.
You can run the numbers.
Say that again.
Yeah, because I started before I resigned, and it was looking good, and I was like, yes, I can do this. Oh my God, I'm doing this.
Yes.
But by the time I resigned, by the 3rd year, I was thinking, oh my God, Shadi, what have you done? You know, and I was almost losing my mind. So I started blogging and sharing my experiences, like open hearts. There's no forming, no anything.
Actually, that's what it is about your personal branding. You're like, this is me. Take me as I am or leave it.
Exactly. And then, you know, when I opened up, I realized that all the people I thought had it together in business, all the people I thought were balling in business, apparently they were not balling. Do you understand?
It's all packaging.
Yeah, because at that time I was thinking, I was almost feeling like a failure. Like, God, I mean, maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Yes.
Look, everybody's happy. Everybody's buying branded car, buying branded this. And, you know, so being open, I realized, you know what? I think that's the missing link. We need to have like a community of people who are open, who are truthful, and who are helping each other. You know, you interview people, you say, oh, how did you do it? I say, oh, it's just God. You know.
Don't even go there.
You are there with your
Say
Bible
God,
and paper, and you're like, please just tell me, how did you?
So God came
It's
down.
very heartbreaking,
Yes,
you know.
it is.
So that was how the community started.
Right.
Really. I said, look, let's have it, and it's particularly because from my own story, I know that there are a lot of moms who have left their 9-to-5s not because they wanted to, but because, you know, they too wanted to be present for their children, and they're now looking for what to do. So let's all hold each other's hands and help people and realize that, you see, we can balance this thing. We can be good moms, good parents to raise wholesome children, and we can also be successful in our careers or businesses.
So how do you think that differs? Because you did point out something early on, the fact that no one ever really prepares you for business. I think that business is much harder than actually keeping a job sometimes, right? Because you're doing a lot more to make that money that you need.
Yes.
So how are you then able to balance that? I mean, I know how I managed to do it. I mean, that's why my kids are homeschooled, because I can't even shout. 3 chicks on the move. I'm like, don't need anybody picking and dropping them off and all. But how are you able to do that? So share.
Yeah, so it's a lot of things. Like I said, I don't package or whatever about these things. Many times people say, oh, you have this big, grand idea to do this. I'm going to make money. But a lot of times that big, grand idea doesn't bring you the money immediately, right? So you need other things to put body and soul. As I was walking into this building, I was telling the person that drove me down to say, I said, God, I've done a lot of things in this my life, right? So we do whatever we need to do to well, not balance per se, but I always say is work-life integration. To understand that everything is part of, look, this is my life, right? Everything has to work. Sometimes you prioritize this, sometimes you prioritize that, and you do whatever it takes. I mean, don't sit down and I don't know how many people have watched Acrimony. And for me, my beef in that movie was the guy had this big dream and he was like, I'm going to make it. And for how many years his wife was there believing and waiting. But see, we need to eat. We need to pay rent. We need to pay school fees. I can't continue to. So, but while you're chasing that big dream, whatever you need to do in between, you have to be practical. You need to do whatever it is you need to do.
So can you share some of the craziest things you've done in a bit too?
I've sold wristwatches. I have modeled. I always tell people I'm not allergic to money. So far it is legal money. I'm telling you, if it's legal and I'm available to do it, I'll do it. I'm not you understand?
Absolutely.
Because we have bills to pay. You have to if you're there sitting down and you're waiting for that, no, this big dream, it's going to click, going to click.
Yes.
You probably might die before it clicks.
Absolutely. I always say to people, like, you've got to stoop to conquer.
Absolutely.
You have got to be ready. I remember that some of the offices that we had, even when we had clients, to actually clean the office to move in, I carried broom and back out. Even in VI, office in VI. Carrying my bag to mop the office in readiness to start business.
And when people see you every day, will just be imagining. They can't imagine it. They think, oh, wow, she's so lucky. She has everything. They don't know the things you do behind the scenes.
As we would say, by the grace of God.
Mommy Gio.
So where did you eventually land in terms of, making money? I know you're actually pursuing Mumpreneur.ng and the Treasurelandia. So what is it that you do with those to keep body and soul? You've gone beyond keeping body and soul together because, I see, trainings that you do.
Yes.
Under what does that fall? And, how are you driving these impact initiatives that you're pursuing?
Okay, so I finally accepted that Mompreneur is social impact work. I think that was the first shift. For me initially, it was always people would call me, say, Mompreneur, you have influence, you have this, you should monetize. And that monetize word, God, it puts you under so much pressure because sometimes you lose sight of why you started whatever it is you started. And then when you're under pressure, you now become like a shark, right? You lose track of...
It's because you have a conscience.
You lose track of why. I always tell people that, see, this business thing sometimes, it's a ministry. Or if God didn't call you, you can't stay.
Yes.
You can't. So when you start focusing on, monetize, you lose track of why. So I think you need to keep that in focus. So for me, I realized that, Mompreneur is social impact. So I registered it fully as an NGO in 2018. So it's Mompreneur Women's Support Initiative. And I started, develop. My approach was now different. So looking for sponsors for me to train women and help them, hold their hands. So I've been there. There's no business I've not done in this world. I'm a mom. I understand. So my approach to even training them is different, right? I'm focused on empowerment, and then it's funded by corporate organizations and individuals who sometimes see these programs and say, oh, Mompreneur, I want to support you. I want to sponsor 10 women. I want to sponsor, so and so women. So I do a lot of training, capacity building, and just to fill that gap in helping women realize that, you can be something and also be a mom.
Okay, so we'll actually take a short break now. Before I go, I'll tell you the numbers to call. It's 0700 923 93 93. Again, it's 0700 923 93 93. If you are an entrepreneur, you're struggling in some way as to how you should take that extra step to be what you want to be, or even you're just really thinking about the thrust of your move, of your business operations, you need to call in and have a conversation with us. It's the Good Citizen Show. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Good Citizen Show. You've been listening to my conversation on entrepreneurship with Mofulusade Sonaike, who is the CEO of Mumpreneur.ng and Treasurelandia. And really, we've been discussing entrepreneurship in this Nigeria. Like, what do you need to do? The number to call is 0700 93 93 93. Again, it's 0700 93 93 93. Shadi, there's something you said before we went on the break around really finally realizing what your purpose was with Mompreneur. In my case, it was actually the opposite. When we started Sales and Action, I was like, oh, everybody, we have a call. Hello? Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, thank you for calling the Good Citizen Show. What's your name?
Good evening, Dr.
Is-
Good evening.
Good evening. Is this Ndidi? Ah, it's been such a long time. It's great to hear your voice, Ndidi. Are you back from Ogun State? Okay. So what's up? Yes, I'm very happy you got through. Ndidi is one of our most dedicated listeners of the show. Thank you, Ndidi. So what's up?
Thank you. I wanted to make this Mofulusade. I'm kind of wondering, to become an entrepreneur, what's the most important thing that one should consider?
So the most important thing is why. I know this sounds cliche. There are all sorts of books about focus on your why, but everybody has a reason why they go into whatever it is they're going into. So you need to keep your why in focus. For me, my why was I wanted to be a present mom, and the 9 to 5, the corporates, whatever wasn't working for me, I couldn't achieve that there. So for me, that's my why, and it helps you stay on course. So because entrepreneurship is hard. Oh God, on its own. Whether then you're in Nigeria again, so it's double hard. Okay. So when the going gets tough, you remember your why, and that keeps you going. That keeps you going.
Are you happy today?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you for calling. So thank you, and that why actually brings me back to that point that we're making. When we started, I thought everybody should be happy. We're trying to solve all of these all these stakeholder issues, and then we were surprised that people weren't excited as we were. We thought that it was kind of like a work no pay. So it was like several years in, we then realized that we needed to have a business aspect of it, but then not forgetting again why we started the organization in the first place. Okay, so I did say that the number to call is 0700 923 923 93. Again, is 0700 923 93 93. And I remember, just as people were saying to you, why don't you monetize? Why don't you monetize? It was kind of the same thing for me because we got this opportunity, I kind of felt like an imposter because I felt like this was kind of like God's work. Like, this is what I was called to do. So why should I be charging money for it? But I had to have that mindset shift to be able to charge. So even now, 11 years later, I'm still shifting. So, when, people say, I realized until my colleague actually said to me, we should stop taking so many jobs. So you'd have 10, 15 jobs and then you're charging peanuts for them.
Oh my God, I've been there. I've been there. With Trezolandia, I would say, somebody still asked me, so when I did Trezolandia, I had passion because I'm a passionate person. Oh God, so anything I do it with my spirit, body and soul. So before I resigned, I was thinking, what am I good at? What do I enjoy? What will make me happy? That look on people's face when you deliver the surprise package to them and everything. So I was taking on jobs. So 5K, 10K, 25K, 30K. You say
50K, they say, I can't be, okay, give me 50.
I do it. And I'm going to deliver in remote areas. God, I almost died. There was a Valentine's Day that I literally fainted, right? I had so many deliveries. And it was, at the end of the day, I looked at myself. My mother had to call me and say, you resigned. See, you're not even making any money. But you're even busier than you were when you were doing your life. What kind of thing is this?
I think the only good thing about being self-employed in that situation is that you can carry your children along.
Yes. So we're in the car together, holding balloons, son is holding this.
Trust me, we have. I cannot count how many speaking events I had my baby at the back. You're still exclusively breastfeeding, so you can't hold the baby.
And it's not paid, by the way. It's just thank you.
Yes.
Oh, thank you for coming.
I have actually, as I sit here, never asked to be paid to speak at an event.
When is it? But I get paid now because I'm radio. So I guess you're listening and you're thinking of, please, I don't do free no more, please, no.
So that's the thing. And, I think that a lot of the time, women aren't brought up to be aggressive when it comes to money making. Which is weird, because I was having a conversation with my team today and I was saying that both grandmothers from both parents were very successful business persons. But of course they were under their men. And so, for instance, my father said to me, say 300 naira was a big deal those days. My grandmother would make all of that money at the end of the year, present it to her husband, and he'd give her 50 or 100 to start afresh in the new year. But what has happened in the modern world is that women don't even realize that we have the capacity to make. So in those days, it was farming, selling of stuff, but we don't even have that anymore. What do you think people should, both men and women, what is that thing?
This
that
is one of the
must
things
do
I
it.
talk about in the personal branding classes that I do.
Mm-hmm.
I tell women, I say, look, we are taught to keep quiet, don't be loud.
Yes, no.
Be
Madam,
low,
don't
reserved,
shout.
put yourself together, and all
Yeah.
that. That's the first thing I say. Look, we need to break that. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
find your voice, use your voice,
Yeah.
and don't be afraid to charge for whatever it is that you're. Because we've been told that you have to be modest.
Yes.
You can't ask for too much money, or else you'll be looking like, she's so greedy.
Yeah.
What an ambitious, and everything. Please be greedy. Let them call you greedy. There are a lot of things that the male counterparts do and get away with, and people are hailing them and saying, "Wow, see that guy is so bullish."
Yes.
There's this that if a woman tries to look at her,
Yes.
she's so greedy. It's about to focus on what is
Yes, or you're concerned that if you are too wealthy, you are viewed in a certain way. She's probably
people will tell her that you won't find husband though.
They did tell me that.
You buy car? Are you buying car?
Till
Which
now,
one will
I
marry
know
you?
women who refuse to buy cars and are tracking and they can afford it 2 times over, but they would not buy.
Those are the things we need to break all those myths and societal limitations that we've placed on women. So, I have boys, but I always tell people that if you have girls, try to break those stereotypes and those things that I know you're mama girl, mommy Gio. I can see your face. So mommy Gio, because you know why? Sometimes you think that you know all these things, but your subconscious has been trained differently.
But I know that my girls know. So every time that I do something, so sometimes I'm going home, I've done something, my daughter will be like, Mom, I'm sure, you said you were going to talk to somebody, especially my third, I'm sure that you convinced, as usual, I'm sure you did your thing, So I like that. When I hear that, I'm assured that I bring
example for
absolutely.
them. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have time for just one call. It's 0700 923 93 93. Again, it's 0700 923 93 93. So, Shadi, I see a lot online, some of the courses that you do. Every time I'm inspired, I say to, even my helps, like, I think you need to go for such and such a course. Tell us a little bit more about these courses that you do for women.
Yeah, so of course, the core of my training is personal branding. And then we also have skill acquisition programs. So that there's one now that we're doing that is sponsored by a brand, and it's we train them. We do the business training first, where we teach them, because especially with grassroots women, a lot of times you can see, let's train them on hair, bead making, makeup, this, that, but they learn all the skills and they don't even know where to start.
Yes,
they can't even keep records.
Yes,
they don't even know. So we start with the business training, and just open up their minds and say, look, you are running a business. It's not a hobby. This is something that you're going to set up a proper structure and stuff. So we do that the first week, the first few days. Then the other days we now split them up to learn the different skills. So fabric, tie and dye, bead making, hair and whatever, and all of that. Those are the things that we do with that training. Of course, like I said, there's the personal branding training online, and there's also mental, like you said, we focus on mindset shift. So I also have events where it's just bring women out. First of all, we just need to come out of our shells, like to break that conservativeness and let them come out and find themselves. So some events are just for that. Come out, interact with other women, and see what is possible. See what is possible. See that you deserve the best, because sometimes the hunger is not there. So that's why we're just like, I'm just getting by. But when the hunger is there, you want to push for more.
So what is that one thing one must have when you talk about personal branding? What is that one thing? Final question. What must have? A few minutes now. One thing that you must bear in mind in terms of branding yourself in a particular way.
Authenticity. You need to be you. You need to be you. When people hear personal branding and stuff, they're thinking, it's about trying to package yourself into someone else. No, you're trying to reach your highest potential and put that forward. You have everything in you. Everybody comes with a certain flavor and uniqueness. So find that uniqueness, find that flavor, and project it fiercely without shame. That's what it is.
So tell us, and I did say that it was a final one, but I want to know, what's the worst challenge that you face, especially with regard to your online presence, and how have you dealt with that?
Online presence. I don't know. I think I've been blessed with
Good following.
yeah, because
Okay.
people complain about
Lucky you.
trolls and all that. I've never really had.
Okay, and I think that
Yeah.
it's that authenticity that you've talked
Yes,
about.
because I've never come
being
pretending
you.
that I'm
Yes.
perfect on this.
Right.
You know, it's raw and this is who I am.
I love that role. So thank you all so much
Thank
for
you.
listening to the Good Citizen Show. Thank you so much, Shadi, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I think the first thing that comes to mind when I think of you and your brand is that authenticity, that pouring out of yourself, in earnest. And I think that that's what we all need to learn. Of course, we have to have the right values in the first place to be able to be raw and open. I hope you've learned a little from this discussion. Do follow us on social media at Good.ng for more on the Good Citizen Show. You have a blessed weekend and talk to you again same time next week, Friday. Bye.
Thank you.